Hello and welcome to Health Bytes. Health Bytes is brought to you by the Public Health Unit of the Ministry of Health and Social Development. I'm your host, Public Health Communications Specialist, Natasha Letsom Humphrey. Returning on our program today, we have our Chief Environmental Health Officer, Mr. Lionel Michael, here to talk about food safety. Welcome back, Mr. Michael.
Thank you.
All right. So what we're trying to do is to educate the community with regards to the principle of food safety. Today we're going to talk about keep clean, but just so our viewers know, tell us what are the principles of food safety?
Okay. I just want to say from the onset that our food safety program in BVI is based on the World Health Organization food safety program. And they advocate and publish what they call the 5 keys to safer food. If you practice these 5 keys to safer food, you have a high probability of preventing foodborne diseases. Our goal in the BVI is to ensure that when people go out to eat, for whatever purpose, a reason, that they do not get or contract any foodborne diseases, any foodborne illnesses, or what we commonly call food poisoning. That's what we're trying to do. So the 5 keys that WHO put forward, and we build up on the 5 keys, we modify them to suit the BVI, include, number 1, keep clean. And that hinders a lot on personal hygiene. All right, we delve into personal hygiene in detail. Then something called separate raw foods from cooked foods. That is key number 2. And that is essentially preventing cross-contamination. All right, we want to contaminate raw food, mix raw food with cooked food. Key number 3 is cook the food thoroughly, by which we mean cook the food at certain food must be cooked at specific temperatures in order to ensure their safety. Key number 4 is keep the food at safe temperatures. So if you follow the logic of all this, you clean first, both your dishes and yourself and your personal hygiene. You don't want to mix raw food with cooked food. Then you have to cook it thoroughly. When you finish cook it, you have to keep it safe, at safe temperatures. And the specific temperatures you keep the food at, and we're going to those in subsequent programs. And then key number 5, is using safe water and raw materials. All right, so those are the 5 keys to safer food. And it's very prominent in the BVI. We try to make it as user-friendly as possible to the food handlers who attend our classes. Mm-hmm. And if they want to use them for their own personal development and so on. So we conduct food handlers training for food handlers in food businesses. We do that basically twice a month as a standard, something we do 3 times a month, depending on, it's like festival coming on and so on. And I want to say, people should not wait until the last week of the festival to the Lord spare all of us life to get their food handler's card renewed. You should renew it a month before it expires.
How long is the expiration?
1 year.
That's
for 1 year.
Okay.
Right? And so, you may get it the 25th of July, renew the 25th of June. Before July 25th. Don't wait till the last moment. Because every year since I'm in Tartola, in the BVI, we have to be training people during the festival. We make allowance. We do understand people come from overseas and want to get involved. So we make allowance for that. But generally speaking, people should get their cards up to date is at least a month before it expires. All right. So those are the 5 keys to safer food.
Wonderful. So now today, like I said, we're going to talk about keep clean. So tell us, what do you mean by keep clean and why is it important to food safety?
Keep clean, as I said, embraces personal hygiene. And it involves 2 things. 1, a person handling the food, and 2, the environment. right? The cleaning of the floors and walls and toilet and washing the dishes and so on. So, two aspects. So, keep clean, personal cleanliness. As we said back in the day, personal cleanliness next to godliness. And that should tell you something, right? So, keep clean. Clean the body and clothing. Your clothes must be clean and your body must be clean. You must look good and you have to smell good. You can't wear the same clothes from Friday to Monday selling food. Same clothes, don't wash it, don't change it, don't do anything. So, looking good and smelling good. And another aspect of that is the practices of food handlers and the behavior, how they handle food. To the extent that you don't want them to handle food in a manner that will contaminate it. That is, contamination means that we have organisms, microorganisms, we have chemicals, physical agent on food or in food. We don't want it to contaminate the food by any means. Because food safety is important in preventing foodborne diseases. And that is why when we conduct the class, we tell people, we don't want when people come to the BVI, first of all, we're protecting people who live here. That's the first thing. People who live in the BVI, who eat out a lot, and so on, we want them to go and buy safe food, Anytime they go to a restaurant, a cook shop, or wherever they go, and they buy food, they must have the assurance that the food is safe. That's why we conduct inspections, conduct training, and so on. Right? People who visit the BVI now, that's another issue. When they come here and they partake of the delicious food that we prepare, we don't want them to get ill.
Right.
We want to have no issues and then they go back and give us a bad name. So you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So once you're preparing food, are involved in the food business, not preparing food alone, once you are involved in food handling, starting from buying it, starting from growing it, because you have the sustainable development plan and so on, and the food safety agriculture put out the other day. You have that bill now in practice, and the farmer who produce the food have to also pay attention to food safety, the chemicals he use, the water he use, the inputs, so that when he harvests them, how we store them, how we transport them to the market, to the supermarkets, to the open markets, and how people buy them on the place and so on. And people should not go on the farm and steal things. All right? So the personal hygiene part is important, right? We want to prevent foodborne disease. Hand hygiene is critical. Hand hygiene involves washing the hands, involves use of gloves, it involves use of what? If you have little small cuts on your hands, you will cover them with waterproof bandages and put in the gloves. Use the right gloves. Wash your hands the correct way. It involves dress properly. Food they're selling.
Oh, what's that?
If you're going to, for example, help I should say also we train church groups and sporting groups in food safety, because they're involved in food handling, in raising funds. And you know you're going to, if you work in a restaurant selling food, you know you cannot wear these long fingernails. You can go to the nail shop to nice them up, but you can't wear these false nails and expect to go and make coleslaw, or make green salad, or make dumpling, of what? Handle food generally. Mm-hmm. You can't have the nail polish on your hands and so. You can't wear the long tray that when you bend down you may go in the soup or touch the salad. You can't wear the long earrings and so. Right? Mm-hmm. And all the rings on your fingers. So these are just simple things that food handlers should do. And the public are to take note of these things too. Mm-hmm. And if they see these things happening, walk away. Go to the next place. Report the matter to us. And so on. So personal hygiene is very important. Keep clean is very important. And the washing of hands, in the program, when we have this program, we tell people when to wash their hands, before preparing food, before handling food, before handling dishes and so on, and before using gloves. And wash your hands after the bathroom, of course.
Of course.
One place is, anytime you go in the bathroom, you wash your hands. Your cell phones, let me just say electronic devices, but especially, our cell phone go all over the place. We carry our cell phone in the bathroom because we don't want nobody to see it. I wouldn't say why. We take it in the bathroom, we take the phones in the bathroom and so on, and you have to wash our hands. Our iPads, our computers, all these things, we have to, doorknobs, we have to wash our hands. And we tell people how to wash their hands in the program, how to, well, in COVID, all of us know how to wash hands.
We should.
We don't need to go over that.
Right.
People are very meticulous on how they wash their hands. And they will stay at the sand sink and they will wash it and lather it and get a good lather and so on. If water is not there, they will use sanitizers and, a good lather and rub it together. But generally speaking, we say the whole hand washing process takes 20 seconds. But you have to rub it together for at least 10 seconds. But rub it together, back and forth. Interlock the fingers, rub it together, do the thumb, do the fingertips, and so on. Rinse it off and dry it with paper towel. You have to dry it. You can't just walk. You can't wipe in your clothes. So management have a responsibility in food businesses to provide the tools for their food handlers to use, to dry their hands, to wash their hands in the first place, and to dry it properly. So paper disposable towels, not common towels, the electric hand dryer that people use, the warm air, blow air in your hand and you dry your hands. The keep clean is extended to daycare centers, preschools, and so on, where children are. And during the preschool period, every summer we tend to have this hand, foot, and mouth disease, and hand washing is critical for that. Cleaning and personal hygiene is critical for those things. So the whole question of keep clean, the food handler have a personal responsibility. And in COVID, we recommend people wear masks when they're over food and talking over food. We're still in COVID. We're keeping that from COVID. That's a good thing from COVID. Because you don't want to be talking and might go out and get in the food and the saliva getting the food. Plus your customers. Because, in the BVI, we want the food now. We ordering the food and we're talking over the people's food. And so the people have to protect their food from the customers too, and from themselves. So that is a personal hygiene aspect, the washing of hands, the covering of the hair with, you don't want hair in food. With hair restraint, wearing an apron, no sleeveless clothes. If you perspire, we don't want perspire, sweat drop in the food and so on. What else? We don't want to have, if you wear a skirt, it must be below your knees in the kitchen and serving food. Why? Because two things. If you have to scratch, there will be a bar between your clothes and your hand. And most importantly, if something spill,
It won't burn you.
right, there will be a bar between. That's a safety issue now. And because we have seen people get burned and wear proper shoes in the kitchen and serving food. You may open a can of milk, a can of beans or something, and you drop. Break your toes, break your toe, damage your, cause the injury on your foot. So all these things in personal hygiene. Don't scratch your head, don't pick your nose, don't cough in your hand.
People should know.
Yeah,
They
in
should know
COVID,
about the
people know those
cough in the
things.
hand,
People
right?
know those
About
things.
nose,
In
in the
COVID, people know
elbow.
those things, yes.
Yeah.
And but we have to emphasize them.
Definitely.
So that's the personal hygiene and keep clean of it.
So based on your inspections, that you carry out, are there any major issues you're finding with establishments adhering to that keep clean order?
Yes.
In terms of, their parents, in terms of their cleaning schedule? What are some
I'll
of the
come into
issues?
yes. The major is one is jewelry. No question wearing jewelry and wearing the gloves. People think they can have gloves on and they can do no wrong. So they wear the gloves out. way the glove all over the place. The glove is to perform one task at a time. If you're making coleslaw, if you're dealing with ground beef, and you don't want your hand on the ground beef, you put the gloves on. When you finish the ground beef, you have to take it off. Wash your hand and put on a fresh pair. Do another task. So we have an issue with the gloves. We have an issue with the whole question of I talk about the jewelry. People who want to go to work with the big earrings and the long earrings and the finger well decorated with rings and bracelets and so on. No, you can wear them to work, but take them off when you reach and put them in your bag and you perform the task and start to work. We have some challenges with hot holding equipment in some of these places, but that's in that personal hygiene as such. But those are the general personal hygiene. Washing of hands is increasing, has increased. It has increased a lot, and people tend to wash their hands. There are some issues and some always follow the procedure, but generally speaking, people are washing their hands more. It has increased a lot. But the jewelry, the dressing are concerned, and the tools for the workers to use to wash their hands and carry out personal hygiene issues. Cleaning is an issue. Now, we in environmental health, the food businesses like to use a term called deep cleaning. We get a little nervous when we hear deep cleaning because it suggests to us that you have not been cleaning. Christmas time, we clean our house, right? Every Christmas, everybody clean their house in the BVI around the world, even though the house don't want clean. Some of the house clean, they still have clean because it's Christmas. When you tell us deep clean, we get the impression you have not been cleaning. Because you have been cleaning, deep cleaning come once a blue moon, right? So we preach that you should clean every day. Every day. Every worker on the shift should clean. Because one, you want to ensure sanitary environments when preparing food, clean, hygienic environment, and two, you don't know when the officers come in. We don't make announcements. All right. So the cleaning is important. Cleaning schedule is important. A simple cleaning schedule that tells you the supervisor. I want to talk of address the supervisors and the managers. That's where the word is super. It's supposed to know a little more than the workers, right? So you make a schedule. What is to be clean? Is it the kitchen floor? You write that down. Who is to clean the kitchen floor? Is it James? Clean the kitchen floor? You write the name down. When he's to clean it? Is it every 2 hours? Every 2 hours? Twice a day? Write it down. How? The how coming now? Is he using brooms, mops? What is he using? So when you supervisor walk to the kitchen and see the floor dirty, who you gonna call?
James.
Exactly.
Calling James.
The supervisor not going to stand up in the kitchen and ask, why the floor dirty? Who's to clean the kitchen? Who's to clean the floor? Who's to clean the sink? Who's to wash the dishes? Because you have a schedule. And the schedule says, it's James and John and Mary supposed to do these things. And they're held accountable. So the cleaning schedule, we want to emphasize, everybody who work in the establishment should clean on the shift. If you have a shift from 6 to 12, they should clean. They shouldn't leave it till the shift come.
Right.
And in establishment, what we find, there are conflict between workers, disagreement between workers, and things we spill on the floor, they leave it for somebody else. You know what we did when we having a quiz? When they're not talking to one another, we make them do the quiz together. We put them together, do the quiz.
And do they answer?
They have to do it, well, when we give her two quizzes, one for you, one for Jay and one for Mary. Both of you sit together and do the quiz. You must have the same answers. That's what we do. Because we want them to work together. Because when something happens, you're not going to say me because it is the establishment is the problem. So workers have to work together in the establishment to ensure cleaning. And cleaning is very important. Cleaning is so important. People come to a place because they see look clean. And then they say the food tastes good.
Yeah, because you're not going to feel comfortable.
Go to a place where you see
eating.
flies
Yeah,
and
you're
dirt
not
and
gonna
grease
feel
and
comfortable.
rubbish all over the place.
Nah.
You see a food, they're selling food, they have on the apron. You see two of them, all have on a white hat, a white hair net, a blue hat, a nice head tie, and an apron, you're heading over there. Food may not taste good, but they look good. They dress good. They present themselves good.
The place look clean.
Yeah, yes, the clean is important. So, clean as you go. Clean as you go. And then you may have somebody come in at the end of the day to do the finishing touches. Because if you don't clean, you're going to encourage roaches. And you know when roaches visit your house, they don't come out. You can't give them notice. You do everything in your power. You do everything in your power. You may reduce them and so, but sometimes they're coming back at you. You have to be at them. So keep out pests and vermins and rats. There's so much a rat problem in restaurants, really. But roaches is a problem. So when people buy stuff, when people go to St. Thomas, United States, Florida, and shop and come back, before they pack the goods, look at them. See if there are any roaches attached to them. Because we don't have no American roach in BVI, We don't have no turtle roaches. Our Virgin Garden roaches are just Van Dyke roaches. We have American roaches. Where they go? German roaches. Yeah. Oriental roaches. Where they come from? We bring
the packaging.
We import them. Yeah. Right? So check your packages. Check your goods. Check your containers. For that. So washing the dishes is important. Some people wash dishes, manual dishwashing, where we have what? 3-compartment sink. We do the 5 steps in washing the dishes. We scrape the food from the utensils. Put it in a container. The pig farmer come and collect it. We advise them, tell the pig farmer to cook it if we give it to the pigs. You want to contaminate the pig. That sounds funny. But pig can get tapeworms from undercooked meat in the restaurant. So, cleaning the dishes, scrape the food, then you wash them with the detergent. In the first sink. Second sink, you rinse them. Third compartment sink, you sanitize them. You will put your vinegar or your household bleach or some commercial sanitizer. Then you turn them down to air dry. That's the 5 steps. Scrape, wash, rinse, sanitize, air dry. Don't wipe them with no cloth and no towel. Just turn them down. Because when you turn them down, the sanitizer act better, more effective.
So you can't just put some Clorox in the first water?
You can, but you still have to put it in
the last one.
In the last water. Because people put the Clorox in the first water because they want to reduce the grease and they want to reduce the smell, the fishy smell and so. What happens when you put the Clorox in the first water? The Clorox the bleach react with the grease and the suds and so on, not with the plate, not with the spoon, not with the fork. It's only when you would have cleaned them, the vinegar, the bleach will sanitize them.
Nice.
Right?
Like that.
So you can't sanitize dirt. So you have to wash first, rinse them off, and then sanitize them.
Wow.
Household bleaches, everybody in Turtle have bleach. Every house have bleach.
Bottles and bottles of
Yes, every house have bleach. Just like in the United States, everybody have gun. We have bleach.
We have bleach. We want to thank so much our Chief Environmental Health Officer, Mr. Lionel Michael, for coming on the program today to talk to us about a very important topic of keeping clean. We talked about personal hygiene, and we talk about, hygiene in the kitchen. And this is not only for persons in the restaurant, but you could use these tips at home as well
Yes.
to make sure you're always, keeping safe and, having your foods prepared at a high quality. You have
Yes.
any final thoughts, Mr. Michael?
Yes, to prevent foodborne disease in the BVI, everybody have to play their part. All the food handlers have to work together with management, and the workers have to have a good relationship to prevent foodborne illnesses in people when they go out to eat. That the people eat out in the BVI for convenience. Sometimes I go eat out myself. I didn't move to make no breakfast. I come downtown and I buy breakfast. I want to know I'm buying safe food. Right? Yes, we teach you to put you take the course, you get the card, don't put the card away, and don't practice what you learn. Practice it. Secondly, everybody who's training food safety by the Environmental Health Division have to collect their card within a week of the training, if not days after. Some people don't come and collect the card for weeks. Then they come and say, oh, remember, I took the class some time ago. You don't remember when. We have to be searching our system. Come and collect your card. Because if you don't have, when we make inspections and you don't have the card, we're going to tell you, don't work. Yesterday, I get a piece of information that the manager tell a worker that they must have to go and take the class because they cannot continue working without a card. And I want to applaud that manager for doing that. It's imperative that people don't handle food unless they are trained and have evidence of training.
Wonderful, wonderful. And for persons who would like to take part in the training courses, they're offered, like he said, about 2 times a month.
Yeah, we had one on Tuesday, and we have one. The next one going to be in March, early March. We're looking at on the 6th, but 6 is a holiday, and then the 7th is the right after.
Tuesday.
So we have
Yeah.
the 14th. So
Yeah.
tell people look out for the date. And on our Facebook page and through GIS, they will get the dates there. And Word Fly, yesterday and Tuesday we had a session, 154 people registered and 128 people sign on,
Beautiful.
right?
Beautiful.
And so we sent out the quiz yesterday, and people are doing the quiz between yesterday and today. And right after, people should come and get their cards. 'Cause if you don't have your card, do not go to work.
All right. You heard it from the chief himself, reporting for the Ministry of Health and Social Development and Public Health Communications Specialist Natasha Letsom Humphrey. Thank you for tuning in.